In our previous lesson, I showed you the first part of this neat little 16-bar solo I came up with called Americana. It's inspired by Carlos Santana's Europa, Earth's Cry, Heaven's Smile, and also Gary Moore's Still Got the Blues. It's actually in the same key of Gary Moore's song, which is in A minor. Santana's was in C minor. And these were inspired by the progression to Autumn Leaves. Actually, I don't know if that inspired them, but it inspired me to come up with the solo. And I'm thinking, what if Michael Brecker, one of my big heroes, took a solo over that? And so here's part 2 of the solo. Just to, before we go on, just to run through the chord changes again real quick, and then I'll play the solo. Okay, it's an 8-bar progression. It goes through the cycle of fifths. Starts out in the key of C, then goes to the relative key of A minor. So we start with D minor 7. Then we quickly move to D minor major 7. Very kind of like haunting sound, right? And then back to D minor 7. So that's 1 bar. It's 2, 3, 4, and then G7. G7 flat 9, C major 7, C7. Get that dominant 7th in there that wants to go to F major 7 for a full measure. And then now we have what's called a 2-5-1 to A minor. B minor 7 flat 5, E7 flat 9, A minor, and then if you want, you can just keep going. A7, it'll bring you right back to the D minor. Okay, so now here's the solo played in time. So I'm starting on this first note, sliding into C. If you remember from the last part, I do this thing. And then I displace the middle finger with the pinky to get that nice long slide. Okay, because I'm thinking about what's coming next. This is the 7th of D minor, right? And this is neat, because now I'm doing the major 7th, which is kind of haunting. So, upstroke sweep, so up downstroke with a slide from 6 to 8. That's the harmonic 7th, the minor 7th. Again, we get that Michelle progression. That's always a cool thing, think about voice leading in your melodic lines. Creates a really neat sound. Hear how the way I went. And then that's the 3rd of G. I'm targeting the 3rd. This is a neat, kind of like an upper structure, superimposed arpeggio. That's pretty cool. If you play that over G, you get that G13 flat 9 sound. But that looks like an E arpeggio. Sounds pretty out over G, right? Hear how that resolves to E, the 3rd of C. I'm using a scale here which I don't think I've introduced yet. This is called the half-whole diminished scale. Or on one string it would be. Like the diminished whole tone scale, it has the flat 9, the sharp 9, and the flat 5, but it doesn't have the sharp 5. It has a natural 5. So you got, instead of, that would be G diminished whole tone, and that would go with this chord, G7 sharp 5. The half whole diminished has, as opposed to, we have flat 5, natural 5. Here's the run. I start out with an arpeggio, finger slide, another index finger slide. I'm using 4 notes per string here, which works out great with this scale. Here I don't need to slide, obviously, because I'm going to the open string. So that's pretty cool. You got that G bass note. Now, how do I paint a pretty C major 7 sound? Again, I'm thinking like a sax player, like James Moody. Moody did a solo of a song called "I'm in the Mood for Love," and he does this really neat thing where he's playing a third, major 7, 5, 6. So you get like this kind of sound. C major 7, 6, 9, or C major 13. And then I'm going, I actually slide there. I talked about this last time, using these neighbor tones, okay? I'm kind of doing a little dance around the chord tones. Here's the 5th of C. Using the upper neighbor, which is the scalar, and then the chromatic lower neighbor. And then dancing around C. You notice I hit the non-chord tone on the beat and then go. And then when it goes to F major 7 in the progression, I just do the same thing. I take that same idea and develop it more over F. But I take these same notes. You hear it's the exact same notes, but I have to quickly shift up to 7th position. That's probably one of the trickiest parts, is making that, grabbing that with the pinky. And then I do the same thing. I'm outlining F major triad with these upper and lower neighbors. Sounds very classical, right? Sounds like Mozart, right? Okay, then a climactic run. Here's a little bit of a Steve Morse, John Petrucci influence. I'm doing these ascending 16th note triplets, building rhythmic intensity. That's over B minor 7 flat 5. Using the, over minor 7 flat 5 chord, you use the Locrian mode. In this case, B Locrian, it's the same thing as a C major scale. You're just playing C major scale starting on the 7th B. Because this is the 7th chord in the key of C. But I'm doing this neat pattern, down, up, down, up, down, up, and then repeating that. Why? Because that helps with the picking, to repeat that. And then do the same thing an octave higher. So it's I guess it's a 12-note idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then apply that same rhythmic motif to the E7 flat 9 chord. But here I'm using same thing. I'm playing 3 notes and then repeating those 3 notes. The scale I'm using for this is E superlocrian, also known as E diminished whole tone. Which is F melodic minor, starting on the 7th. So it's the 7th mode of F melodic minor. I'm going on the 3rd though. I'm getting that nice counterpoint with the E bass note. And then just a little shift and do that same idea 1 octave higher. This is cool. Bending from that B flat note, which is the flat 5 of E. Here's E7 flat 9, flat 5. Oh, nice, resolving to A minor 9. So I'm going. Actually, I don't pick it, I go. Step on the gas here, give it a little more gain. And then resolve it with a more inside sounding rock lick. A minor, I'm just using A minor pentatonic. Actually, A minor hexatonic. get that ninth in there. From there, you can go into something even higher, but that's building the solo. That's the second 16 bar, second chorus. So, with this run, it kind of builds an intensity. And technically, by the way, I'm using palm muting on the lower strings. A little rake into that bend. I kind of mute these other strings with the index finger, so I can go pull off, and then nice sexy vibrato. Make sure you use at least 2 fingers, preferably 3. Ring finger supported by the middle, and even index. Get the thumb here for leverage. Wiggle the whole wrist. Make it nice and slow and wide.